Gentlemen,
Yo, yo.
all right, we're missing Manny today, but we've got our stepfather in the house,
Yeah.
Cipha Sounds.
Yeah. What up? Where's
Our
Manny?
stepfatherhood.
Right.
Yeah.
Manny's got
Is it incapacitated?
I think he's got some work stuff popping off, I believe.
Okay. All
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Which hip hop single cover are we using for this episode? We should discuss that.
Let's discuss it.
Good question.
Yeah. Which one should we use?
Give us a recommendation.
Okay. I'll think of some of my faves.
We haven't used a Redman album, have we?
Nah, well, I think we did. I think we did Doc's the Name. We called it Pop's the Name.
Did. Yeah, we did.
Pop's the Name is a good one. All right. I'll think of some throughout the episode.
Okay. So before we started recording, we started talking about some trips. So I got a big serious question for you, Saif, but let's talk about your LA excursion first.
Yes, sir.
I know E had some questions.
There's a lot of fanfare around Saif's LA excursion.
Yeah.
But that'll lead me into my bigger question.
Okay.
So go ahead, E.
Oh, no, me?
Well, I don't know if you had specific for.
Well, no, because Saif was when we started talking about, he started with "I don't know how you," and I just said, "Hold up, let's record."
Okay.
So I want to know what I kind of know. I think I know where he's going with that, but let's go.
Yeah. No, it's not. I don't know how you, but it's interesting being around Nori, where he drinks. I want to say
copious amounts of alcohol
all day.
All day, bro.
I mean, all day, bro. Like.
And smokes.
You guys take the Drink Champ moniker seriously.
No, he does right now.
Woo!
He does. I leave it exclusive for Drink Champs, and then I go home and become a father and do family things.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Interestingly enough, when we had Nori on Fatherhoods, we had sober Nori.
Yep.
He was just drinking water.
You catch him early in the morning, he's sober Nori.
I mean, he doesn't ever really look sloppy drunk, though.
No,
he handles it well.
He handles it well. He knows how to drink for himself.
Yeah.
And he takes his breaks. Let's be honest here. He takes his breaks when he goes on like benders like that, like trips and stuff. He'll come back and his wife, shout out to Juicy Juice Bar. She opened a juice bar.
Yeah.
And he'll juice and he'll do the ginger shots and he'll do all that stuff. So
well, I was happy to catch I wouldn't say it was a business trip, but it had like vacation vibes to it,
When you're with him?
This particular trip, it was a business trip, but it had like some vacation vibes, a lot of rooftops, a lot of friends stopping by. So he handles it well, but man, it's a lot.
Yeah, and he really does go the whole day. We have this funny thing that when we hang out and we do trips, I call it the vortex. Either the vortex or the matrix. And if wherever the bar is in the hotel, like you gotta avoid that area. Because he'll pull you into
him away from that. Yeah, you gotta lead him away.
No, not him. He's there already. He's gonna pull you into there. You gotta avoid it. If you want to do other things in that day, you gotta avoid that area.
Right.
But it's always fun.
Yeah, I got on I got reposted on the source. I caught myself on TMZ.
What?
We were outside of a restaurant, and in LA they have the TMZ celebrity tours.
Yep.
It's like a bus with, there's people.
Right. They show you all
and they go all the hot spots. So the bus saw Nori, pulls over, jumps out with the camera. They're like, "Hey, Nori, can you come say what's up to the people?" So he goes over there. They go nuts. And I was like, I didn't know it was going to be on TMZ.
Oh, it was actually on TMZ?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
And he talked about the game episode of Drink Champs.
And you weren't around any of the Hove interactions?
Oh, Oh, I absolutely was. I just missed the picture opportunity.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I had to leave. All right, let me ask you a question. This is what you guys do, right? You guys have fatherly advice.
All right.
As soon as I saw Hove, he asked me about my stand-up comedy stuff. And I said, yo, I got shows tonight. I got 3 shows tonight. It was Saturday in LA. And then within the 3 hours of us meeting, because he was also putting them back, he kept asking me about comedy, like here and there. And then he goes, what's the joke you're gonna start with? So I tell him the joke I'm gonna start with. But then when it came time to leave for the show, I didn't want to leave because we were having such a great time. I would have looked like a groupie if I didn't go do my shows, right?
Yeah, that would have been irresponsible of you.
Yeah, you'd have fucked up your future for a fleeting moment.
I think he would have been like, oh, this guy's not serious because he's been talking about his shows all night, and then now he's just hanging around.
Yeah, that would have been a little lame of you.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
But you know, why do you feel like you need that? I feel like that's your fam right there.
Yeah, but bro, it's fam, but it's far removed, man. That guy is.
But I mean, I think a lot of the people that were in his circle and were around him a lot early on, when you get to that level, are far removed, but you're still kind of still fam, regardless.
Bro, yes, I have a lot of family. I don't see my mom ever. It's just like you got to take advantage of those moments. And it was like, bro, it was it was something about it, man. I've never seen Hov so just laid back, relaxed, talking about life and topics. And it was a different. Listen, I've worked for Jay-Z I worked with Jay-Z 3 different times in 3 different ways. And it's always work. It's fun, but it's work. It's go get her, go get her, go get her. This was the first time I ever got to just sit back and have like a fun, cool convo. And it was special.
Yeah, just something to Nori about it. Like Nori just told me about it. And I was telling Nori that the first question I had is, okay, how close are we to having him on Drink Champs? And I asked that only because seeing him around the rest of the crew and looking so comfortable led me to believe that, okay, now he kind of understands more of the Drink Champs dynamic, and maybe he'll be more open to coming through.
I don't wish bad on nobody, but I have to pray that I hope you never get that interview.
Why?
Because the only thing Juanep has over Drink Champs is the most Jay-Z. Legendary Jay-Z interview. So if you get that, we just, you know, you ever seen the movie Coco? The Disney, the Pixar cartoon movie.
Yeah.
You know how if no one keeps your picture up on
you
the
start turning into a ghost or a skeleton.
Yeah. That's one app. If you get the Jay-Z interview, we just fade into nostalgia.
No, but this is what you do. You have because I don't think it's available anywhere, and you have and Nori do an intro and then republish that and say, "Yo, this was the first."
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
And I'll refer to your interview with him in our interview. That way, people go back to your interview.
That would be great.
Don't wish that upon us. Come on, man. We need that. I have a couple bucket list moments before this is over, man.
Nah, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. They look so cool. They look so tight. There's gonna be a reason for him to do it. You're gonna get it.
So was this meetup? Was this part of the plan, or was this just something that all of a sudden you guys were all in the same spot without giving up too much details?
Nori. Nori set it up for something. We were doing something. We were
got it. Okay,
something.
Got it.
Yeah.
I liked how Rosenberg asked because I listened to One Up the other day. I liked how Rosenberg asked about your E. He was like, "Yo, was EFN out there with you guys?"
Yeah, the fans were talking mad shit. They always talk shit. But I love you. Hey, this is the one thing I could tell you, Cipha. KGB listens to you guys. He doesn't listen to Drink Champs.
No, I listen to both.
Stop lying.
I do.
Okay.
I do, but drink champs. I have to do it in in spurts
In
because
chunks.
because
Yeah, you gotta
sometimes you
do it in
guys have those
chunks.
3-hour long
Shit,
joints.
this last one was 4.5 hours. This is the
Oh
game
my
episode.
God. 4.5 hours. What are you
Listen.
doing?
You know how I started to gauge how long we've been there? How many times I go to the bathroom now? Because I'm drinking beer, so I gotta piss like a racehorse. So I'm like, all right, I went to the bathroom 3 or 4 times. Yep, that's definitely 3 or 4 hours at least.
So, all right. So this leads me. I mean, we can go back into other specifics here, but this leads me to my big macro question for Cipha
Okay.
is how do you pull off all your travel and how do your kids deal with it? I'm assuming they must be used to it by now, but I've heard you reference like on the podcast, like making jokes about like,
Yeah.
I won't have a family or I won't have a wife anytime
Yeah.
soon or that kind of shit. But I mean, like, especially with them getting older and like knowing that you're away and you're on the road a lot. And I know that's your thing, but how are you dealing with that, man? That's got to be something to tackle, man.
Yeah, it is rough. It is very rough. What I tell myself is, one, I try to make it be like living by example. So like my kids don't know now because they're super young, but like when they get older, I'll explain to them how I left one very lucrative career kind of to pursue something else. And with all the obstacles and all the fear and all the things that normal society tells you shouldn't do, I went ahead and did it, and then now becoming pretty successful at it. So I have to, in a way, use that as be like, listen, if you ever want to do something, don't be scared. Your dad did this and your dad did that. That's the macro version of it. The micro version of it is I try to, when I'm home in the city, I take a night off specifically just to hang with my kids every week. And it's hard to turn down shows because pandemic even showed us, like, you never know, at any moment this thing could be snatched away from us.
Right.
But I forced myself to take a day off completely. And then I also try to schedule my stuff where I'll do a late show where I can put the kids to bed so they don't even know I left.
Right. Got it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I try to FaceTime helps a lot, but also like they kind of don't want to talk to you on FaceTime. I think like it's not the same, I guess, to them. But it does help a lot to just have the FaceTime on when they're eating dinner if I'm on the road somewhere. I mean, luckily I got a supportive family and I'm not away as much as it looks though.
Got it.
And then also I make sure I wake up 7 a.m. every morning. Like that 2 hours before they go to school is important. So at least they see me, because I know a lot of comedians and DJs sleep till like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like,
can't do that.
Either I take my kids to school or I take them to the school bus, and that morning time it's rough. It's hard. Sometimes I get home really late, but I try to do that, and then I just try to put in all those spare moments. Like I try to like get all my work done in the daytime so that when 3, 4 o'clock rolls around, I mean, it's hard. I don't do it 100%, but I try to like, once the kids come home, I try to focus on them until I got to leave.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, but yeah, it wouldn't work without a base.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how do you feel emotionally about it? Besides knowing that you're doing what you love, besides knowing that you're creating this career and living and setting this example, how does it pull at your heartstrings being away from
I mean, I miss them, and like I saw this thing on Instagram or TikTok the other day I forget what it is, one of those motivational speakers, and he was saying that 1 to 4, from birth to 4 years old of a child is a very special time. It's like when they can't speak and they can't walk, and it's like they're learning all those things, and you got to really try to focus on that, because once it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
And my first kid, I missed a lot off of sheer anxiety and fear of not knowing how to take care of a child. And I look back and I'm like, damn, I was too nervous about keeping my daughter alive. I missed out on some of the fun stuff because I didn't know how to do it, So the second one, I really try to like hone in on that. And I also realized I got to spend alone time with each one, where it's hard to spend alone time with my son because my daughter gets jealous and she always tries to jump in. So I have to like wait till she goes to school and then take him and do something with him, because he's still not in school yet. He goes to pre-K next year. But then also, and this is some new stuff I've been going through. I think I saw Will Smith say, I think it was Will Smith. He said, "You don't own your kids."
Yeah.
Right.
So
yeah,
like,
it was Will Smith.
It was, right? You saw that?
Yep.
You don't own your kids, so it's like you got to raise them and do your best with them, but like at the end of the day, they're not your property. So like, I don't know. Like, okay, I'll tell you this. My wife wanted to pierce my daughter's ears, like very young, and I told her she shouldn't, because you're putting a hole into a human body. What if she doesn't want that hole? And she was like, no, but little girls wear earrings. And I was like, but maybe she doesn't want to. Like, you have to find that out. And then recently my daughter asked me if she could get her ears pierced. And it was like a 7-year, I told you so. Like, it felt great. But like, they gotta live their own life and make their own decisions, even at this age. So it's like, yeah, I want to be there for them as much as I can, but also they got to be their own people.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but be their own people when they're little babies and toddlers is a little different, though.
But why? But I think, or I don't think it's good to give up your dreams for your kids, because I feel like that's where like midlife crisis come from, and that's where resentment towards your kids come from, and like trying to live through your kids vicariously, all that kind of stuff. Like, I have a good balance. I'm sure it's not 50-50. It leans more, my career, I think, because of what you're saying, like my career is a lot of traveling and working nights. But I think a lot of people mess up their lives by doing everything for their kids. Their kids hit 18, 19, 20, and all of a sudden they go, who am I? What am I now?
No, I agree with you. And if you probably listen to the first, I think in the first couple of fatherhoods, I used to say that all the time. Like, children shouldn't, you shouldn't stop your life and stop doing what you're doing because of children. Now I've changed some of those thoughts. And
wait, did you have children when you had young children when you said that?
No. I had my daughter was on the way, hadn't arrived yet. So my first was on the way.
Yeah.
And so my thinking now is it's more important, and this is my opinion. Obviously I'm not putting this on anybody else. For me in my life, I feel it's very important to be very present because I'm able to, and it's my job to figure out the smartest way to balance and satisfy the things that I want for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then make sure that I keep the lane open and keep like works in such a smart way that I can keep that lane open, that when I feel like, okay, that early stage that they needed me is kind of over, then I can kind of still pick up and keep it moving, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, of course. But what is present mean? Like, is it a number of hours? Are you saying every single day?
Well, for me, it's being there as much as I possibly can. But for me, that might be my personal issue, maybe because my pops wasn't around, like maybe for me, I'm trying to be the total opposite of my pops and be there so much. But it's just like, it's gotten to the point for me where I'm so used to being with my kids and they're so used to having me around
Yeah,
that to change that would be very disruptive in their lives and mine.
yeah,
That's why I asked you about the emotional side. And my life, it would be very emotional to separate from them.
yeah.
But everything you're saying, it makes sense. And then trust me, I agree. Nobody should, like, you can't stop your life and your career.
No, you
No,
can't.
because that would be disruptive to them in the future too. Because if you don't
That's
create your living and create a foundation for you, they're gonna have to deal with that in the future themselves and taking care of you as well.
Yeah, and then like I also have like, see, like how I wrap my head around it is I have um like I don't have a 9 to 5. So I can literally spend a whole day with my kid. I can spend a whole weekday with my kids more than other people can. So it's like I try to balance it like that. Like I try to do the numbers. Like if I was coming home 6:30 from a 9 to 5, and then the traveling and all that, and then spending time with the kids 2 hours at night, I could pile on those 2 hours in a day. You know what I mean?
Right.
The 5 days of 2 hour nights from like 6:30 to 8:30, and then you're getting them ready for bed or whatever. I could like spend the whole day with my kid on a Monday or Tuesday, where a lot of people can't do that.
Yeah, it makes sense because people who have the 9 to 5, or it's never really 9 to 5, it spills over. So there's a lot of people who are in
Yeah,
that
depending on how
trap of,
far you work.
yeah, you're
Yeah,
just in that, you're in that system of, or in that area of like, okay, well, maybe you only see your kids 1 or 2 hours a day. Uh, so
yeah, and I try to like,
it's still a sacrifice, so.
and I try to. I mean, my kids are. Oh man, sorry. My kids are young, but I still try to say it to them like, hey, your dad has a special kind of job. It's good in some things, but bad in other parts. And I try to say like I'm lucky enough to be able to do what I want to do and like get to perform with cool people. Um, but yeah, like I remember, I think I might have said this on another episode, but I remember Dave Chappelle, name drop, was talking to Will Smith's kids, and they were like, "Oh man, it's horrible having a famous parents. They're never around." That's a different type of fame. That's
Yeah.
Will Smith
Yeah.
and Jada fame. But like, I don't think it's them not being around. I think it's like all the stuff that comes with it, like prior.
Did we lose you?
Hmm.
I think we lost Sife.
You might come back on.
So what are your thoughts on that, okay? While we're waiting for Sife.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on the just trying to find the balance part of it. But I hear you on the emotional side of things, because that's probably my biggest, the thing that hurts the most, like having to travel or do anything like that, is just I'm so used to being around my son all the time, or as much as I can, and so not being around him or having to leave town, to I miss him, so, because just used to hanging out. He's at that age now where it's like it's a hangout, so.
Yeah, I just think that it's turned into where my job now and my responsibility is to figure out how to hustle in a way that I can continue to be there in that way for them. Like, because if I think about it now, all the stuff that I've experienced with my kids at this point, I couldn't imagine not experiencing those things.
Right.
not being a part of that, not seeing certain things, not, and that, knowing what I've been around, I'm like, yeah, I couldn't, if I had to do it all over again, it'd be the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I get it. I'm a bad father.
No, brother,
We're Christ.
We're in agreement with you.
It's not about bad or good. It's just, I'm telling you, for me, like, what I'm trying to explain is that this is now at the point where it's me now. I'm so used to it that I couldn't imagine something differently. But obviously, it all goes with family dynamics and the type of family dynamic you have that allows for different ways of doing things.
But also, you're blessed to have a career where you can do that.
Absolutely.
Be there so much.
Absolutely. And I have an office in a studio that's 2 blocks away from my crib. I can go, go back and forth, within a minute's time, and yeah, so I appreciate all of this shit, and my, like I said, my responsibility is to hustle in a way that I can continue to do this stuff, but at the same time, I do feel it's important to fulfill one's needs that each individual has. Like, you can't neglect your own needs, because by neglecting your own needs of being creative or hustling or working or whatever it is that each individual needs, you're eventually going to be, you're going to be disgruntled, and you're going to take it out on your kids and your family.
Yeah, that's my thing for sure. Like, I know people that, like, wanted to do, whatever, this and that, like, or some, not to disrespect any moms, but like,
let's disrespect some women, moms, yo.
Yeah. Fuck that bitch. No, I know some people that, like, they have kids and their whole life is their kids, and then they leave home eventually, and that empty nest syndrome hits hard. So you got to prepare for that early. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it is good. I mean, look, you have to. It's the balance of spending the time, but also leading by example and showing, like you said earlier, just showing your kids that don't be afraid, and you can do all these different things, and they can see that.
You know what everyone's talking about is Kanye's mom in the documentary.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's talking, like, that is really the shining moment of that doc. Like, those conversations with his mom, and it's like, man, I hope I'm that inspiring to my kids. I think I am. I try to be, and also I watch so much videos on how to raise kids, and I read blogs about how to talk to kids. Like, just this morning, I implemented something. My son was crying over what I would call, and what my mom would call, like, stop crying over nothing.
Right.
He had like a blanket that, the blanket that goes on the couch when you're watching TV. You want to put the little blanket on.
Yep.
He tried to take that to his grandmother's house, to school, to like little daycare, and then his grandmother's house. And we're like, no, you can't take this blanket out of the house. And he starts having a tantrum. And really, I just want to be like, just grab him, put him in the car seat, and keep it moving. Like, you can't, why are you crying over this? And instead, I got, like, on his level. I went down to his eye level, and I made sure I had empathy on my face. This is something I was just reading or watching the other day. And I spoke to him in a calm way, because the first thing is to get him to get out of this tantrum.
Yeah.
Then we can talk about the blanket. So I got down on his level, and I started speaking in this really calm voice about how I understood.
Can you give us an example of the voice?
Come on, little baby. Come on, little baby. No, I was just like, I know. I was like, his name is Seven. So I was like, Seven, I know. I was like, I know. And I had like because I have a very deadpan face. And this thing I was watching was like, you gotta, like, they read, facial expressions more than anything else. They don't know words like we know, So I just I had like a sad face, and I was like, I know, I understand, I understand. And then he stopped crying. It worked. Like, he stopped crying, and then I explained it to him, and he can have it when he comes home, and it worked. It took a while, but it worked. And I was like, oh, this is. My mom would have just said, Stop crying. There's nothing to cry about. And that's their whole universe.
It's true.
Yeah, but going back to Kanye's mom, right? One thing I think that goes in line with everything we're talking about is it seemed that she was very present around him a lot, and to the point where he felt very comfortable having her everywhere with him.
Yeah.
So I wonder what that was like when he was really, really young.
But then on the flip, I guess if you have I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't want my mom in a session with Puff and the Game and all these people.
Right.
Wait, I didn't see the third one. Was she all up in the third one?
In the third episode?
Yeah.
No, I think the third one's more present day.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched it. It is more present day.
Would you take?
But yeah.
Will you take
now,
your?
I don't know if there's something with her being divorced from his dad and she was overcompensate. Like, let's, I just try to always look at both sides of it.
Right.
And then, the tragedy of losing her is when they say he lost it.
Right.
Yep.
Because that's a big support system.
Yeah, it seemed like, it was the cornerstone.
The source of his inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I had a really big fear. My dad died when I was 3. And this shit hit me hard during the pandemic. My dad died when I was 3. And I barely remember him. Barely. I have like a couple of faint memories of my father. And I swear my son knows who I am and remembers me every day. But if I was to die, would he not remember me?
Well, yeah. I mean, just think about even, I don't know, my son is 9 now, but he barely remembers anything from 5 backwards.
Right.
like trips and things that I think that
Yeah.
he's totally in the mix. And then I'm thinking, well, damn, maybe I don't necessarily remember a whole lot from early on either. So I mean, it's a kind of a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's like if we think we're fucking up or we, haven't done X, Y, and Z, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to remember a whole lot of it anyway. But then it also is a reminder. Yeah, subconsciously. Yeah. But just in terms of those kind of memories, but it is kind of scary. It's like, fuck, I thought, felt like we were present and clicking that whole time, but yet you don't remember.
Imagine you're present all that time in their life, and then you start traveling after 5, and all they know you is as the person that leaves all the time.
Right.
Like, motherfucker, I was here since up to 5 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. And then, so my dad died August 24th. I don't even remember what year, but when August rolled around last year, when he was 3, and then August rolled around, and I had this haunting feeling, and I was like, if I die, this kid is not gonna remember me. Now the only difference is, I mean, we have tons of videos, and my phone is filled with videos, so it's not the same as I don't have any video footage, movie, anything from my dad. Right. I mean, and plus I'm like, I don't have a little name, so he would always at least know who I was. God forbid something happens. But he could go on YouTube and see my Jay-Z interview on the Juan Epstein podcast, Juan Ep His Life with Peter Rosenberg.
The interview Drink Champs hasn't had yet.
Yo, but on that idea, let me ask you guys this. Do you guys ever think about the law of averages in terms of doing things, going out and about, like that something could happen to you, and obviously the effects that would have on your family?
I don't really think about it going out. But I do keep in my mind all the time that anything could happen at any time.
Going out, or what you do, when you go out, like does that ever cross your mind and kind of like,
I try to make as much of a more of an
inform your decisions.
yeah. I mean, I definitely try to weigh out like, all right, am I going to go here and maybe I shouldn't be there, that kind of thing. I can weigh that out, but I also know that you could be doing the most mundane shit in the world and something could happen.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I don't like, I remember, all of us coming from hip hop back in the day, we were in a lot of places where nowadays we'd be like, nah, I'm not going over there.
Right.
We were in some wild, I've been in shootouts, you know what I mean? Like, and whether it be at a nightclub, I wasn't partaking in the shootout. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
like,
but you're there and the bullets are flying around. So yeah,
flying, whizzing, zip, 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 and I was in a club in Newark. Like, it wasn't that far fetched. You know what I mean? Like, that shit happens there. So now I necessarily wouldn't go to those type of places. But yeah, you never know. Things could just happen anywhere. But like, I try to like. That's why the only thing I do in that aspect is I try to never leave the house mad or hold a grudge, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell my kids I love them as much as possible. Just because.
And I've said to my daughter, who's only, she's about to be 7, I've said to her and try to say it in a not like a scary way, but I was like, yo, what if this is the last time you see me or your mom? Like, don't let this thing you're upset about, ruin, don't let it be the last thing you remember,
How does she take that? That's quite
it's a very mature
right?
approach.
I mean, I don't say, what if your mom dies in a horrible car accident?
Right.
I'll just be like, what if this is the last time you see her? And she's like, it snaps her out of it.
Huh.
It snaps her out of it.
Mature kid.
Yeah, because I don't like. I've told you this before. I don't like lying to my kids. I had a fight. I had a fight recently about the tooth fairy. I had to get into it.
You and your wife?
Listen, man. You know me. I'm 5%er. None of these holidays, they're all bullshit anyway. But like, I've been letting stuff slide. I don't believe in Halloween, but it's probably fun for kids to dress up. So I explained to them, I say, listen, you could dress up, but there's no, ghosts or all Saints Eve, whatever, any of that, whatever the point of it is.
Right. The Great Pumpkin isn't coming to see you.
Yeah, and I'm like, listen, you can go, it's fun to go around asking for candy, but listen, we don't go around neighbors' houses begging for shit. Like, this is the one day where you can like get some candy, whatever. But I tell them, I said, listen, if you do your chores or whatever, I'll go buy you some candy, But whatever, I laid off on that because it's also, again, I don't own my kids. If they want to celebrate Halloween, then they should be able to. So then the tooth fairy, my daughter lost her tooth, and she was like, oh, mommy told me the tooth fairy was going to put money under my pillow, but it didn't come. And I like turned red with anger. Like, this is what we're doing? This is the bullshit we're doing? I said, I told you, we're not doing this. I let Halloween slide. I'm not letting this tooth fairy nonsense slide.
We banging on the fairy.
And she's like, you told. And I said, listen, there's no tooth fairy. I said, here's the game. The game is, I'm going to try to sneak in your room when you're sleeping and sneak money under your pillow. And if you catch me, I'll give you double. And that's the game. And so she was excited about that.
Did you say that you'll be wearing some wings and holding a little wand?
No.
Okay.
Now we know whose kid ruining it for all the other kids.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh,
that's those have to be tough fights.
But listen, I've said this since the beginning.
No, I know. I remember.
And now she's starting to slack. I'm like, nah, man, I gotta tighten this up. And she goes, oh, Sade got mad the other day. She said, I'm gonna stick my middle finger up. And I was like, good. You should.
So you found you're finding compromise in the household on the holidays,
yeah,
or the so-called holidays.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Compromise, man. So that's how we keep it moving.
But yeah, my daughter always asks me about Christmas. Like, why don't you celebrate Christmas? I say, well, the short answer is I'm not a Christian. So, half your family is, half your family isn't. And if you decide that you want to celebrate Christmas, of course, right now, of course, you're going to decide that, because Christmas to you is just getting a bunch of toys.
Right.
But, I was like, when you get older, you look into the meaning of it. If you decide you want to be a Christian, then great. This is your day. I'm not a Christian, so it doesn't mean anything to me.
I mean, she don't have to be a Christian to celebrate the holiday. I know Muslims
here
that
we
celebrate
go.
Christmas. I do.
It's actually all of us. It's actually all of us being pagans. How about that?
I mean, if you want, December is definitely a pagan holiday. Jesus was born in April, but let's not get into that.
No, but Christmas is right before Santa Claus goes on vacation, so that's why it's got to get done then.
Yeah. It's an HR thing.
Right.
They need to get their shit together.
All right, guys.
Wait, real quick, before we get out of here. Well, it's not gonna be real quick, but we'll try to make it quick. To piggyback off the last episode talking about World War III.
Oh, Jesus.
What do you guys have any thoughts when it comes to family and what's going on in the world right now? Like, does it change any way that you operate, any movements or anything? Do you want to be with your family more or anything like that?
Let me tell you why it doesn't for me. And nobody likes when I start talking my shit. But first of all, it's all nonsense, because I remember when COVID first started, it was on the news every second of the day. Every second, every CNN show was about the pandemic, right? So this is March, April 2020. Then the George Floyd thing happened, and all the news shifted to that. So I was watching it, peeping it like the conspiracy theorist. I'm like, so COVID's just done? It's not a hot news story anymore, because now this isn't a hot news story. So then I just started paying attention to the news much more. And I because I was never home to just sit down and watch TV all day long, but COVID made us, forced us to just, be home. And I'm listening to CNN, and it's like they're giving their opinions.
But you can't possibly think it's the same, Cipha. It's definitely not the same thing. I watch news from other countries. I don't watch the news from here just to get more of a grip of what's going on. It is real different than all the things that you mentioned in terms of news coverage and them exploiting our emotions. Huh?
There is countries that this type of shit happens every day, and we don't know about it at all.
African not nuke war, not the capacity for there to be a nuclear confrontation. This is different in that sense.
Why? What's the point of the nuclear war?
What do you mean? What's the point? Like, why would it ever happen?
Yeah.
Because Russia has a lower threshold. And I'm telling you this based off things that I've watched from other countries and even our own State Department and their assessment of the Russian military. They have a lower threshold to use tactical nuclear weapons. My fucking English is terrible now. And they have a lower threshold, meaning they prepare to use them in regular warfare. Unlike us, it's a last resort. So if they use one tactical missile in this situation, then it can cause the whole world to go to war. and that's pretty much a wrap for all of us, or a lot of us, or most of us. So it's different. Now, based on everything you're saying, I will tell you one thing that my mom used to tell me when I was a kid that I always think about, because I remember, growing up in the 80s in the Cold War, and I was always into like war and into all this stuff. So I was always like concerned about World War III. And my mom used to tell me that since she was a kid, everybody's been saying the world's gonna end. So she would always like tell me that when I would like tell her, oh, is this gonna happen? She's like, listen, since I was a kid, the world's been ending. So I kind of think about that and it makes me feel a little calmer. But this situation is different than all the other things you mentioned, though.
No. I mean, maybe the nuclear part, but
yeah, the nuclear part, not just the war in Ukraine.
No, I know what you're talking about, Cipha, in terms of just the way that the coverage shifts, and just you're bombarded by whatever is kind of the hot topic at the moment. But I think what he's talking about is
if they have the ability to just shift all focus onto those things. And then also, what can we do about it?
No, there's not much we can do about it.
Buy flour.
Flour?
Yeah. My mom hit me up and was like, just
to make bread,
go stock up on flour and stuff because of the sanctions, and you won't get grain prices are rising, and if there was something to pop off, that you'd have to be able to have stuff to cook at home.
When I was seeing the pictures of Nori and Jay-Z together, I couldn't help to think, like, what do billionaires think about everything going on? Like, what are they like? How do they prepare their families for stuff?
They got that bunker.
Yeah, like, does he have a bunker?
Right.
He don't have no bunker.
Who doesn't have a bunker? Me?
You think Jay-Z has a bunker?
I don't know. Maybe there's like a whole like a timeshare for billionaires.
Right.
A bunker timeshare.
I would believe that.
Yeah.
But my thing is, like, even if I am a doomsday prepper and have all the canned goods and powdered milk and bottles of water in a bunker somewhere, I mean, 3 goons show up to my door and I'm done. What am I gonna do?
Come on, man. Put up a fight, bro.
What am I gonna do?
Have the M16 or something, bro. Have an AR.
Yeah, but for how long? Because
I mean, it'll get you past the 3 goons, though.
If I'm smart enough to build this bunker and this doomsday prep and have all this stuff in there, and then they find out about it, they're gonna be relentless.
It's like the Walking Dead scenarios.
Yeah, they're gonna be 20, 30 of them to get that spot.
No, for sure. I mean, look, I'm not talking about post-apocalypse. Honestly, I wouldn't want myself or my family to survive the apocalypse.
Yeah. Living in Mad Max world.
Nah, we're good.
Yeah.
Take us to the next one.
Yep. I guess that's a good spot to end.
Yeah, that's World War III.
Mushroom cloud.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, Cipha, thanks for hopping on last minute, and hopefully we didn't depress you too much.
Listen, man, those big boys playing those big boy games in global politics, there is absolutely nothing I can do about it.
No, that's fact.
Nothing. No one's listening to me. No one cares what I have to say. I pay my taxes and I keep it moving.
And there it is.
And that is the true fatherhood.
Yeah, I think EFN just froze. So now we're really done. All right, man. All right, Cipha,
thanks
man.
for having me.
Appreciate you, man.
See you guys later.
All right, man. Later.